you very much for being with us this afternoon. Let's get a bit more on that then and speak to Nabila Ramdani, who is a French journalist and commentator here in Paris. I guess you've been watching the press conferences this morning. What do you take out of them?
Well, the first thing to say, really, that Paris, the last thing that Paris needs is another barbaric atrocity. And it was clearly aimed at disrupting a democratic election. But of course, it is horrific at any time. And the first thing to note is that the far-right candidates, and by which I mean both Marine Le Pen of the National Front, but the increasingly hard right of François Fillon of the Republican parties, have both expressed outrage, of course, but they are trying to turn this horrific act of terrorism into the biggest event of the campaign, and both have cancelled their routine electioneering, and they have held press conferences solely devoted to security, and they are effectively convinced that the election can be fought on the ongoing terrorist threat, and specifically by the so-called Islamic States. Other candidates, I have to say, have shown more reserve, and they have been more circumspect, suggesting that this kind of atrocities can be fought through efficient policing and indeed intelligence. Remember, early last week only, when two prospective so-called Islamic State killers threatened to murder a presidential campaign, efficient policing and intelligence managed to stop that, and they were arrested.
But it is worthy of discussion, isn't it? When someone of this description, Karim Shaoufi, who is known to the police, he's served time in prison, he's been on a watch list. In February, he gets in touch with fighters in Syria, he's trying to buy weapons. How is he not on a watch list? That is worthy of discussion.
Of course, it is a worthy security problem, but other candidates have view security issues as one of the many very serious problems that are facing France at the moment, and by no means the only one, like politicians such as Marine Le Pen and François Fillon. It has to be said that the rhetoric of Marine Le Pen would be of huge use to an organization like the so-called Islamic State, not least of all because she uses the exact same terms of reference as them, which is to say words like war. She wants France to be in a state of permanent war.
Are you actually saying that you think they are trying to interfere with the process because they want her to be elected? Is that what you're suggesting?
I think she will be incredibly useful to their narrative and indeed to their evil project, and she sees them as a threat not only to try to destroy French civilization, but also Western civilizations. But and her solution, accordingly, is to ban all immigrants, legal or illegal, to shut the borders and to advocate for Trump-style walls to go up. But what she forgets to mention is that the Paris shooting has nothing to do with immigration, of course. It was actually carried out with a born and bred Frenchman who was very well known to the security services, not least of all for shooting policemen in the past.
Yeah, very interesting. Nabila, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for being with us.